what was so interesting, among many very interesting things in this unprecedented event, was the turnaround, the pivot by Donald Trump, who 3, 4 weeks ago was still going on. He wanted low gasoline prices. They're great. They're a tax cut. But he came to see this as a national security issue, also an employment issue, and a very important factor in the U.S. economy. And he just jumped in. His first book was called The Art of the Deal, and he prides himself on being a deal maker. I think this must be the biggest and most complex deal he's ever made. And not only was he a deal maker, but he was also something of a divorce mediator, because, of course, a month ago, the OPEC Plus broke up when Saudi Arabia and Russia went their separate ways. So he really worked the phones with the leadership in Saudi Arabia and leadership in Russia. And, he's now he's part of the club for now. But I think it is a response to the current situation.
Dan, in all of your experience, did you ever expect to see the United States essentially taking a seat at that OPEC table? Because you're exactly right, President Trump has been OPEC's harshest critic, and yet he was the deal maker who managed to end the price war between Saudi Arabia and Russia. Who else do you see as the geopolitical winners and losers here?
Well, first of all, in the first part of the question, I think 6 weeks ago, this would not have seemed possible, but it was the difference between where we were 6 weeks ago, and we were looking here without a deal, that we were going to run out of inventory around the world. And when that happens, the price of oil would have really crashed, with severe repercussions, not only for the oil industry, but for finance and for the other industries that support it. And I think that's what made the turnaround. And then the second thing that made the turnaround was that the producers found they couldn't sell their oil. The market wasn't there for it. They weren't able to move it. Russia couldn't move all of its oil to market. I think all those things came together. But then it was this deal maker, Donald Trump, who got on the phones and, against all odds. But I would say it looked like a mission impossible a few weeks ago. Turned out it was mission possible.
That's right. And Trump was, of course, the first to flag this 10 million barrel cut. But at 9.7 million, Dan,
and when he said it first,
go ahead.
If I could jump in, when he said 10 or 15 million barrels a day, people said, where did that number come from? But we're now looking, when we were working on our numbers this afternoon, we're seeing that it's putatively about 14 million barrels a day. So he called it.
Right. But at 9.7 million barrels a day, or whatever it ends up being, in the early price reaction that we've seen in markets, it does look like investors are still mostly unconvinced that this is going to go far enough to offset the demand destruction that we've seen as a result of the coronavirus and stop the tanks from hitting limit up. How do you see the market reacting, I guess, when we see these cuts eventually starting to take effect, and how is it going to impact prices moving forward?
What this has done is it's bought time. That's what you needed. What it means is you won't hit what they call tank top at the end of April, beginning of May. You push that out. Now, obviously, everything depends upon when life returns back to normal, and no one clearly knows when that will be. But this also addresses a second problem, which we were going to build up such high inventories, 3 times bigger than during the 2014-2016 period. And that would have had continuing pressure on the market for the next couple of years. And as you all have pointed out, this agreement goes 2 years. So it's also meant to manage the inventories downward over that period of time. So what this has done is averted what really would have been a disaster for the oil industry. And I think it does give some stabilization. It does not address the whole problem. Our numbers this quarter, as we think demand for the whole quarter, is going to be down about 20 million barrels a day. We'll see where we are at when this quarter goes on. But this goes a long way, and the alternative was a pretty steep drop. If I could just add one other thing, 10 days ago, you were looking at this, and it looked like it was going to be that price was going to head to $10. Now we're talking about, is 30 where it's going to be?
And Dan, this is critical because as we do talk about President Trump being the deal maker in chief in this scenario, it makes me wonder if he's not only hit his objectives when it comes to what he wanted to see in terms of that cut, but will the president hit his objectives when it comes to jobs back at home? Because straight after that decision, President Trump noted on Twitter, let's just show you that this will save hundreds of thousands of energy jobs in the United States. But given the bleak demand outlook, is that so? Will the deal be enough to save that many jobs in a sector that has been so hard hit?
I think it will save a lot of jobs. It means that companies have gone into crisis mode, but they won't have to go into deep crisis mode. And they'll maintain some level of activity. But there's no question, and this is part of the deal. Remember, the US government could not do like other countries and say, hey, fellas, cut your output, cut production. But what is happening is that production is going to go down because of economic forces, because of lack of finance, because people have slashed their budgets. And we think from the beginning of this year to the end of this year, production will go down in the US about 2.9 million barrels a day. And that was one of the things that the US needed to persuade the Russians and the Saudis would happen, because they kept sort of saying, well, why don't you can you promise to give us a cut? The US constitutionally can't do that.